Hi everyone, today we look at Salesforce. What is their secret sauce and are they a buy in 2021? And we really don't beat around the bush on this channel. We dive straight into the stock. I want to show you this because as you can see, Salesforce stock has just gone up like a rocket ship. Imagine if you had bought it back in 2016 when it was valued about $50. Now it's worth over $300. So this stock has 6x in just a few years, which brings me to reason number one for Salesforce to be the absolute monster growth that it is now as we speak. Let me show you. Right here we are. So you see that Salesforce, in spite of being a company that is already like 20 years old, they started in early 2000, they are first of all growing like they're a monster. Look at that. They're basically going, it's a straight line up, and look at the growth compared to their competitors. Look at that. So their competitors are Oracle, SAP, Microsoft, and Adobe. Adobe and Microsoft are doing well. Oracle and SAP a little bit less. But look at Salesforce. Salesforce is just really going up, just up. And so the first takeaway is that they have been in the leadership position for the longest time, and they have these aces up their sleeve, and no one seems to be able to take away the leadership from them. And now let me show you how they managed to stay always on top. But before we do that, quick thing I wanted to show you. 2018, 2020, look at the revenues. Look at the revenues, what kind of growth we had. They basically doubled their revenues over 3 years. But here we're talking about $1 billion, guys. We're not really talking about peanuts. From 3.2 billions all the way to 6.3 billions in the latest earnings report. And okay, you've been waiting for long enough. I'm gonna show you the reasons why this company has been growing like crazy. But just imagine that this is one of the companies that I bought a few months ago, and now it's been growing so much. So stick around if you want to have this kind of advice and more news on Salesforce. Right, so this is a very important slide. So as you can see, these are all their services that they have, all the products. So they have service, sales, platform. But what you have to take away is that first of all, they have so many things going on, not just one product or one service. They have a plethora of products. And what needs to be really taken away is the growth, like going from the highest growing business they have, which is MuleSoft and Tableau. So these are two kind of software that they bought. And on top of that, they have everything else, but everything is growing from a 31% down to 15%. But the growth is insane. But how are they financing this growth? Because it doesn't seem to be sustainable. Well, let me show you this trick they're using. First of all, the company is producing an awful lot of cash, and they're also quite good at using it. It's not a company that just sits on the cash and just hopes for the best. Look at the amount of cash that is being generated over here, but also the amount of cash that is being spent. In 2020, they spent over $2 billion. Yes, just in 2020, but they made the same exact amount of money in the last quarter only. Just imagine. And so the takeaway is that all this money is being spent on their products, so they always reinvest to make sure they are at the forefront of their sector, which is obviously software as a service, which again is another great way to make money because you keep getting money coming through every month. Speaking of which, how much are they actually gonna grow in the future? Because obviously that is what is really important. Well, let me show you. First of all, let me show you that the whole industry they work in is going to grow a lot in the next 5 years. 15% as growth on year. This is the year-on-year growth. 15%, that's an awful lot. But also in terms of company, they are really growing like crazy, even faster than the market, than the expectations for the market. And these are the expectations for the future. So looking at 2022, they're expecting a growth of 23%, and 2023 another 20%. On top of that, it seems that even the EBITDA, which is basically how much money they're gonna make after taxes, after everything has been taken away in terms of costs, taxes, you name it, their EBITDA is gonna stay still as it's been for the last years, and it's gonna stay around 30%, which is very good. But with a company so big, there is one risk that they can run out of customers. For example, look at Facebook. They have so many people on their platform that can potentially run out of people on the whole planet. Well, let me show you what Salesforce can do in the future. And so this is a breakdown of all the customers for Salesforce CRM stock. By the way, the stock is CRM stock. But look at the simple fact that most of their customers are in the United States, over 62%. Then we have the UK, which is where I live, by the way, guys. Smash the thumbs up if you live in the UK, and even if you don't, then it's 13% then in the UK, but then it's mostly not present in Canada, Belgium, and basically there are really bits and bobs, but not really much in Europe, not in Canada. Basically outside the UK and the United States, they're not really present. And so that is exactly where Salesforce needs to push to get more customers in, because obviously they have the possibility to penetrate a market. Yes, I said penetrate a market that is much newer for them compared to the US, compared to the UK, and so Europe could be a very good place for them to start. On top of that, they could actually focus on emerging countries. I'm not sure how much that is possible. Obviously, we're looking at China and the Asia as such, but as you can see, they're not really looking at that at the moment. However, the future is a mystery, and perhaps they're gonna give it a crack. Which brings me to my next reason why I think at this point I can actually kind of tell you exactly what I think of Salesforce. Yes, they are a great buy, and I've got them in my portfolio. To be honest, what I wanted to show you is how they can always go up in price. And it's, look, the secret is actually in front of your eyes. They always beat earnings and estimates. Look at that. The surprise wasn't massive in terms of revenue, but they always are in the green, meaning they can always beat their expectations. And every time there are earnings, they seem to be going up. Okay, there are some times where the market is particularly bearish for them, but overall, as I showed at the beginning, it's a straight line up. Now, word of advice, because the market at the time of recording is very hot. There are potentially issues coming forward, upcoming issues that I've talked about in my previous videos, so subscribe if you want to stay up to date with that. But let me show you what the Fed just did, and that is something that will obviously affect CRM, as in Salesforce, because obviously that will affect the whole market. And by the way, do not click off. This is almost, this bit here that is about the whole market is almost as important as knowing a lot about Salesforce. What is going to happen now very soon, and starting from this month, this came out yesterday, but this month, and we're talking about November 2021, they're gonna start reducing the money that the Fed has been pumping into the bonds market, meaning that some money will actually, in the future, we don't know exactly when, leave the stock market and go into the bond market. And that is a very good reason to be extra careful when you invest in stocks now, not just in Salesforce, in all stocks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.